Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club. It's Tuesday morning, and it's the day before my daughter Artemis gives birth to her first baby, and I pray and hope that everything goes well, because it's been a long and tricky journey for Artemis, Will, and also all the other people who have been involved in their lives as well. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of those people who have been close to Artie and Will throughout their journey, and for all of those who have prayed, lit candles, and offered their best wishes to them over the past few years. And it has been, as I said, a long and difficult journey for all of us. What I'd like to do today, like I normally do on Jim's 5 a.m. Club, is to do a book summary. I just need to find my notes, believe it or not. I've misplaced my notes, and here they are. And the book that I'm going to go through today is another interesting account, and something that I hope we can all learn from. And it's a how-to book. It's a non-fiction book. It's a book designed for personal development, and it's entitled How to Fight a Hydra by an author named Josh Kaufman. How to fight a Hydra. So for those who are unaware, the Hydra is a mythical monster from ancient Greek folklore, and it's a monster that had many heads. It had a breath that could kill, so its breath, you could just imagine, was so bad that by taking a whiff of the breath you would die. And also the blood of the Hydra was also lethal. If you got a drop of blood on you, it would kill you as well. And the mythical Hydra was positioned, and it lived at the entrance to the underworld. And Hesiod, in his accounts, reminds us that Hercules at Aklis, one of his 12 labours was to defeat and to kill the Hydra, to figure out how to kill the Hydra. And it was the second of his 12 labours. So the trick with the Hydra was that if you cut off one of its heads, two would grow in its place. So for every one that you removed, you had two to deal with. So it just kept on growing and growing. So Hercules at Aklis needed to find a way to defeat this monster, and the way he defeated it was to cut off all of its heads, and also to sear the neck with fire so that no other heads could grow. And this monster is a metaphor for all of our lives, especially the lives of people who are working, because within our lives we are surrounded by challenges, by problems, and for every problem we seem to solve, we also create additional problems along the way. So what we'll do is we'll take this book, we'll take this message, and we'll see where it can take us on this journey that we're on today, the journey of how to beat a Hydra. So the key message from this author and from this book is that we basically need to act, and to act now. We need to face our fears in order to pursue our ambitions. We just can't have ambition. We just can't have dreams, hopes, without taking action. And the greatest antidote, the greatest remedy to fear is, of course, massive action, doing things, knowing very well that when you start doing things, you're going to solve problems, and you're also going to create new problems that you didn't even, you weren't even aware of. Because as you solve a problem, you make progress, and as you make progress, you move forward, and as you move forward, you're moving into the great unknown, a place that nobody else has ever been before. But as you're moving along, new paths will open, new windows will appear, and you'll be in a better position to see how the horizon looks, so that you can decide along the way where to go and how to get there. So the bottom line also that the author tries to engage us in and to help us with is for us to understand that problems are not bad. Problems are a sign of life. And the longer you live, the more problems you're going to face, the more challenges you're going to face. And like Heracles, in our life, we're going to have lots and lots of struggles that we need to cope with, we need to deal with, and we need to defeat. And life will continue to throw hurdles in our way, but these hurdles, these struggles, these challenges, these problems are the fuel that enable us to grow and develop and to progress. And they are seen and should be seen as stepping stones to a bigger, better version of ourselves. The other thing that the author reminds us of is that we humans, in our very nature, are teleological in nature. And what does teleological mean? Teleological means that we love dealing and solving problems. So there is an invitation there for us to embrace our problems and to look forward to having problems rather than burying our heads in the sand, but to look forward, to look up, and to welcome the opportunity to deal with the problems that today are going to send us. Every day is unique. Every person's life is entirely different. I, just like you, have had and enjoyed a different past. We're going to experience a different now. I am here, you're somewhere else. You're going to experience something completely different throughout the day, because we've all got a different perspective, and we're all going to live, most certainly live, different futures, because what we do today is going to move us along our path and take us down the path into a next sort of outcome. So we can't really live the same life as everybody else. We're all going to live different lives, and what we do, what we think, what we say, the actions that we take will determine where we get to tomorrow based on what we do and what we think and what we achieve today. The other thing we need to also appreciate and welcome is that risks in life can never be eliminated. They can be abated, they can be reduced, as long as that they're identified early and you start getting your plan B and plan C's in place to be able to deal with those risks if and when they arise, knowing very well that whilst we have many risks and many fears, all of those things are potential risks and potential failures. They don't necessarily mean that they're going to happen. And this is the difference with fears. A lot of people live with fear, thinking that certain things are going to manifest themselves, certain negative outcomes are going to manifest themselves. But the reality is that the majority of the things that you fear, the majority of the things that hold you back, that make you procrastinate, will never ever happen. Only a very, very small proportion of the things that you fear may ever happen in your life, and yet there are people who are frozen in fear. There are people who don't progress, they don't take the next step because they are overwhelmed with fear. Fears that are irrational, fears that are not real, fears that they have inherited from other people, from society, from the media, that they've invented in their minds, fears that are not real. So it's up to each and every one of us to address these fears and to address these things, knowing very well that everybody is in the same boat. Everybody has self-doubt. Everybody has grown up in environments where people are naysayers. People create scenarios, fanciful scenarios that stop and limit people's progress. But it's up to each person to take on those challenges and to fight them, just like Hercules fought the Hydra and found a way of defeating it. Each and every person needs to do something similar in their lives in order to conquer the fears that limit them at their every junction, every stage of their being and of their lives. The other thing that the author reminds us here is that we need to figure out where our lives are going, and as other authors have reminded us of, you will figure it out. Everything is figure-outable. The important thing is to start before you're ready and to continue along the path and to make small incremental improvements and to progress and not to be caught up with perfection, and to be flexible in one's approach, to keep trying, because we all need to understand that we all have a different fate. Just because it didn't work for your mum, your dad, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your brother, your partner, your workmates and everybody else, doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. Just because it didn't work yesterday or the day before that you tried it, doesn't mean it's not going to work today. We have to understand that everybody has their fate, and we need to be flexible in our approach to getting things done and to continue to have faith in God's providence and God's will. And if you're doing things that are God-pleasing, that eventually you're going to get the outcomes that God wills for you. But we need to be flexible in our approach. We need to continue trying to do the right thing and to sort out our limiting beliefs and stay focused, as distractions will fall upon us at every step along the road, So we need to stay focused and to try and minimise and eliminate distractions wherever possible. And by all means, to learn from our mistakes, because each mistake that we do, each outcome that we achieve, what it's doing is it's contributing to our inventory of patterns that we have in our brains, in our minds, that enable us to use those patterns as a future reference when we have maybe not the exact same sort of issue, but something that may be similar. We can learn from our own experience, but we can also learn from other people's experience. So that's why it's important to do things and to experience things in your life, but it's also important to read and to learn from others, from achievers, because you can learn and you can ride the coattails of other people's experience, OPE. That we can learn from our mistakes, we can learn from their mistakes, we can learn from our successes, we can learn from their successes. But it's important to learn and to incorporate other people's learnings into our lives rather than to try and reinvent the wheel every single time. The other thing that the author says is that even if you do achieve certain things in your life, you're going to come to a point where you're going to have buyer's remorse. Each outcome that we achieve, we sit and we reflect, and we may say to ourselves, was it worth it? The girls who won the World Cup the other day, one of the players there, her father had passed away the day before the World Cup final. One of the Spanish girls, the girl who actually starred in that game and scored the winning goal. Now, we need to understand that in life we're going to have successes, but when we sit back and reflect on those successes, we may have a thing called buyer's remorse, because life has a lot of false summits. False summits are things where you reach the very, very pinnacle, and then you look around only to realise that you're on the wrong peak, and it's not where you were supposed to be or where you longed to be. But we only get that realisation in hindsight. The bottom line also, according to this author, is that everything we do, everything we think, everything we say is an expression of who we are, and it helps define in a certain way what our character is and who we are as people. And the author then makes another very profound statement here, something that I think we've all learned in our lives, that important things are never easy. So the big things, the hard things in our life are never going to be easy. And the reason why they're not easy is that if it was easy, then everybody would have done it, and it wouldn't be important, it wouldn't be special. So many are defeated along the way. Only a few dare to do things now. The majority put it off to tomorrow and the next day, and that's why they never seem to achieve anything in their lives. The author also says that it's important, and this is a really important point, I like this point, to not fight more than one Hydra at a time, to not try and solve more than one massive problem at a time, to stay focused on a particular project rather than to be distracted on many different things. So only fight one Hydra at a time, and to only take advice from achievers. We'll be surrounded by lots of people who have lots of things to say, but as my friend Bill Karagunis would always say, is I'm not going to take advice from somebody who has not achieved what I've achieved so far. I'm going to take advice from somebody who's done better than what I have done. The other thing that the author reminds us of here is that the only thing certain in our life is uncertainty, and we need to embrace and welcome uncertainty and to focus on progress, not perfection, because we live in an imperfect world, and perfection can be the shackles that keep us from getting from where we are to where we need to be. So once again, we need to work at progressing as opposed to being perfect, and to keep on moving and to show gratitude. Another important point that comes from this book is to be grateful for what we have, to be grateful for what we've achieved, and to show thanks to God, and to really make the most and to be thankful for what we have. And I think that's where I can leave it. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where once again we've taken another journey together as partners in each other's growth and development. I've taken another book summary and added it to this massive library of knowledge that I've been able to accumulate over the past couple of years. This book summary, I believe, is number 1560. So I'm incrementally adding, and I just can't believe that I've been able to deliver as much content as I have. But I've done it one at a time. I've done it incrementally, one at a time, one by one, and I've got to the point where I've got a YouTube channel. I've got content which is far and in excess of anything that anybody else, I feel, has been able to do in the world. And I know that it's going to be hard for anybody else to try and match me, because I have put in the effort, and I only know the amount of effort that it's taken to get up every single day, to read something, to summarize it, and to deliver it unedited, with passion and with love on a daily basis. It's not easy. Now, we can do it in fits and bursts. A lot of people can do it for a little bit amount of time, but it's very, very hard to be able to do it consistently, day in, day out. And it's something that I've been able to do, and something that I'm very, very proud of. So if you can, spread the word, share these videos, share my YouTube channel, Jim's 5am Club, with other people, because I do believe that the work that I'm doing is of significance and can help people. Now, you can sit down and think about it, because I not only take the book summary, what I do is I complement and I supplement it with my own life experiences, as well as the OPE, the other people's experiences that I've been able to accumulate from reading book summaries from over 1,500 books and from lots and lots of other authors. Anyway, take care, enjoy the rest of the day, and may God bless my daughter Artemis and Will, and may they have a healthy baby, and may they all live a long time and enjoy each other's company and get to be parents, and to receive the salvific value of being parents and having to give up of yourself for the love of someone else. Yassas, take care, and God bless us all.